So it's Grace again. Hi. um, I'm back to talk about my first husband, like promised. Now, I guess, okay, we met through my sister. She and her sister were friends. Or my sister and his sister were friends, excuse me. And they set us up because I had just, my sister knew I was lonely. We actually had ended up going to high school together. I just never acknowledged him, I guess. He was a very introvertant person, if I'm using that word in the correct term, I don't know, but I think so. Very antisocial, like withdrawn to himself. So anyways, he we were together for 3 years. He was another emotional, abusive person. At first, I fell in love head over heels. He was the first guy I married. He took me serious, made me feel on cloud 9. Told me I was beautiful, bought me dinner, all that stuff. So we moved to a town and started our life together. My children were young from previous relationships. They were not his. He had never had any children. We actually discovered that he could not have children. He was sterile. We went about our life, and he was, like I said, he was abusive. He never wanted to leave the house. One time I think I had to actually put his shoes on to leave the house. He left me stranded in at the fairgrounds once when my son had an asthma attack. And this is hard to talk about sometimes too. But anyways, it was in the local news what happened. I seen a post on Facebook about his sister had made saying rest in peace to her dad. So this is when we had split and I had moved away, and we had been split for 6 months. So anyways, his sister had posted this on Facebook, so I decided to write his grandfather a letter, so he would get the mail, because that's where he always got his mail, and he was close to his grandfather. So he ended up getting the letter there, and then he did call me, and I said, well, I'm sorry about your dad. So he's like, oh, my dad's not passed away or deceased. He's just missing. He took off with some tribal guys or whatever. So that's the story he kept giving me, and this and that. There was a huge investigation. His father wasn't reported missing for 5 months, actually. The family just didn't seem to care. I mean, maybe they did. It just seemed like it was a normal thing that he would take off and then come back, I guess. So anyways, during this time, my husband would frequently his father owned a backhoe, and he would drive it around like he owned it. It's almost like he was trying to live his dad's life. But anyways, I'm getting a little off kilter here. We got back together, and then, things were different. I mean, one time he pushed me on the bed, and his eyes turned black, almost, and he threatened me, and it scared the living hell out of me. But I stayed, anyways, because I figured, well, it was my husband, it was my duty to stay. Because I had watched him, as much as my parents struggled, I had watched my mother stay with my father no matter what. So I think I learned to allow men to push me to the brink and still be okay with it, put their feelings before my own, which I still do, and I'm going to work on changing, because my feelings are worth it, and so is any woman's or man's if you're being tormented or made to feel like you're crazy. Anyways, that's for another day. So he ended up calling me, and I had cervical cancer at the time, so I had to have a surgery, which is where they shave your cervix to get rid of the abnormal cells. And during this time, he had went to his dad's house and he said he was burying garbage. Later to find out, once everything went through, he was burying his father's body in his backyard. Yes, he killed his father, buried him in the backyard. He would frequently stare out the window and he didn't allow me or my children or the dogs to go back there. His dad never called, never came around. He, like I said, it was almost like he was trying to live his father's life, in my opinion. Yeah, and if this video ends, I will continue it with another one, because I noticed that I'm running out of time on this one. So anyways, so I'm just going to continue this video on another one.